History is a gateway into knowledge and lore long lost to time. It allows us to look not only into ourselves, but also to those before us, and learn from their ways, their mistakes, and their battles. In this series, I will be taking you on a journey through time and history that will teach us where our beloved unmatched fighters come from, whether or not they will be equals to the rest, or if they will find themselves. There are multiple depictions and stories told around Annie Christmas. In some depictions, she is Irish, in others, African. The most recognized version of Annie is the keelboat captain from New Orleans, Louisiana, and/or from the Mississippi, who stood up to any man. Annie Christmas, also known as Flatboat Annie, is a character in Louisiana folklore who is described to be 7 feet tall and supernaturally strong. She was the captain of a keelboat named Big River's Daughter. Annie was stronger than most men. She would work on the docks of New Orleans carrying multiple barrels filled with flour like they were lightweights. She could pull her boat both upstream and downstream, and she would thoroughly handle any thieves, bullies, or men with evil intentions. It is said that every time she would defeat a man in a fight, she would add 1 freshwater pearl to a necklace of pearls she wore. Supposedly, this necklace surpassed 30 feet in length. Annie had a husband, Charlie. Not much is known about Charlie other than his thrill of playing cards and the gamble. Apparently, he passed while Annie's 12 sons were still young, and Annie cared for them all on her own. The crew of her ship consisted of these 12 sons. Since Annie was a folklore character passed orally among communities in Louisiana, it is unknown how much of her stories are true and how much is hearsay. Supposedly, she was based on a real person, but it's safe to assume a lot of her tale is exaggerated extremities from the real Annie Christmas. Some of these say she was born on the very holiday in her name. Weighing over 25 pounds and minutes after birth, she was able to lift her mother with ease. Others said when she yelled, the very ground shook, or when she walked, the floor would crack and crumble beneath her. As one of the stories goes, Annie was traveling on a steamboat where she took the finest cabin. One day, the steamboat sailed straight into a dark, raging storm. The water of the Mississippi churned, rocking the boat and tossing the passengers dangerously as they huddled together and prayed for survival. The ship struck a sandbar and got stuck. Luckily, Annie had tied her keelboat to the steamboat before they left the port. She told all the passengers on the board to get on her keelboat. Just as they climbed on, the steamboat began to sink. So many passengers joined Annie on her keelboat that it barely floated above the water. The storm raged and pawed at the keelboat. Annie pulled for her life and the lives of all the passengers. She was strong for sure, but pulling all those people on her keelboat through that storm was too much, even for Annie Christmas. Finally, Annie pulled the keelboat ashore. She had saved hundreds of passengers that day, but working so hard had overtaxed her heart, and soon after, Annie's heart gave out. Within Unmatched, Annie is all about getting stronger when she's at a disadvantage, a true underdog tale. This is expressed with her ability, Necklace of Pearls, which reads, add +2 to the value of Annie's attacks if she has less health than the defender. There are multiple ways she can set up having less health than the defender. For one, she can take a couple hits in the early game and become a bigger threat later on. She also has a couple cards that either deal her self-damage or keep her alive when she's low. With her unique kit, it is very important to keep her sidekick Charlie alive, as he will be generating most of your damage when Annie's ability isn't active. With cards like Bottom Dealing and Long Shot, Charlie is sure to land some good shots before going down. Annie can also set up big damaging turns with her scheme, Captain's Orders, which says, place Annie in any space in her zone, then place another friendly fighter in any space in Annie's zone. Gain 1 action. This allows Annie to set up double attack turns with either herself or with Charlie. Finally, to close out games, Annie has 3 copies of a few more pearls, which says, deal to the Wizard to each opposing fighter adjacent to Annie. Annie and Charlie make quite a pair, and fit perfectly within the debut set for Unmatched Adventures, proving to those pesky cryptids and monsters that we're all better together.
Prepare for an exciting journey with Historically Unmatched, a video series dedicated to the skirmish battle game Unmatched by Restoration Games. Unleashing the true power of every newly released fighter, we delve into their origins, dissect their decks, and scrutinize their abilities to unveil their unparalleled skills. Then, I will enter the biggest Unmatched tournament of the year, Summer of Legends, armed solely with the latest fighters. We'll witness if these formidable warriors rise to glory or end up being